everything. I mean, it expands from there, you see. We move beyond tribal distinctions and personal distinctions and planetary and galactic distinctions, even universal distinctions. We move into the full presence of life, one heart alive in everything that is. Everything. And happily so, too. That's how we even the score here, man, with his little wake-up call each and every day in that Coyote way, here on the Coyote Medicine Show with Grandpa Coyote, don't you know? Helping your little feet take off, your wings grab the flow of the grand breeze of creation, the spirit wind that blows softly from the heart of love and gets you to soaring higher and higher and baby sharing farther and wider. Ain't nothing you can keep inside her, man. You just got to expand and grow and just let that love flow, baby. We're transforming the reality. It's the return of the bird tribes and then some. The eagle has landed and taken off again, babies. It's flying high there in the air, high above us all, man, and bringing us all into that magnetic heart, that universal love that is so righteously real that it can no longer be denied because it's in what we feel. And that's what we're given, is what we're living in, the feeling. And if you can allow that to be love, if you can allow that can be, a gracious, grateful love that arises from the very center of your tawdry old soul, shining so brightly in the night. Ooh, baby, now you're going to shine like crazy in the daylight. Why not? Be visible. Let the veils drop away. Don't hide from your shine. Shine a little light on us, and babies, you set everyone else free too, don't you see? You don't have to worry about being revealed and then being assaulted for it, as it may have been in the past when people just couldn't stop throwing their underwear at you, Well, it's the life of a rock star sometimes. But now you've moved forward just a wee bit in the realm of the heart, the realm of creation. You know how to handle this stuff. You know how to recreate it. You know how to get fans to be adoring, adorable little puppy dogs that just want to love you, and lick your little hand and stuff like that, you see. They don't throw their underwear at you. Just love you for what you be, man. And they see themselves in you, and they're no longer desperate for love in any way, you see. We've got so much to share now. We're giving it away. It's overflowing from our hearts. It's flowing into the creation around us. It's electronic, man. In a very real sort of way, man. It's the mystical energy of life sparkling itself back into being. Your eyes are losing the restrictions. It's like as if you laid on that UFO watchtower for a couple hours, man. Say in the middle of the night or the wee hours of the morning, and your eyes adjust to the universal light of the great stars. And then you begin to see things. It's just like that in this life, man. You just give yourself a little time for your eyes to adjust into the heart's perspective. Then it all comes filtering in. You see it for real. You no longer have to imagine. Well, sometimes your mind is in such a state of denial, it'll even deny when you see things moving around in the sky and say, oh no, that was a shooting star going backwards. That's all. Etc., etc. You can excuse away anything if you don't want to face it, and why should you? Nobody's forcing you to do anything here. If you want to keep your head down in the sand and pretend that's really grand, well, gee whiz, we'll cheer you on, man. It's a beautiful thing to be doing, I reckon. Because inevitably, with your head down in the sand, your eyes really closed, because if you open them, it's going to just slay you. So you got to keep your eyes closed the whole time you got your head in the sand, and, after a while, it's like, hanging yourself up in the Sundance or something. You start to have visions. You start to live in the reality because you really can't close your eyes to anything. Life is energy, and it's alive within you and all around you. It's a loving energy, created of love. That's the flow, that's the sparkle, that's the spectacle, that's the shine in life. And you can stick your head in that bucket as long as you want to, babies. You're going to alternate dimensions right away. And you're going to experience them all, and they're all going to settle and coalesce And baby, you're going to rise up out of that sand kissing it and saying thank you for being the crystalline love that allowed me to see in my darkness how shiny bright I be. Without the darkness, we wouldn't know there was light. Without love, we wouldn't know there was fear. And in fear, we learned to held love dear, and then found the power that's there, and realized we had nothing to fear. You know, we really didn't have to stick our head in the bucket of sand, but part of us knew in this subliminal sort of way, this operation of the divine intelligence inside, part of us knew, well, if I stick my head in that bucket long enough, I'm going to see everything. And I'll be it, and I'll be okay, and that's a sure a lot easier way of going than having to go out there and throw your wings out and fly up to it, you know. Yeah. Oh, we got so many excuses, babies, you know. It's like we're all a bunch of old booze hounds who just can't give it up, you know what I mean? We're addicted to the love and reality in which we live. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. It's a good kind of addiction, man, you know. When we've been a stick in the mud for so long, the ooey gooey feels pretty good, man, you know. And even though one of us has reached, you know, terra firma, is ready to take off and fly, got the mud out of their wing, got the blow dryer out and cleaned them up, you know, fluffed them up a bit. You're just looking at them and saying, well, I'm not so sure I want to do that. God, I mean, you know, we've been here so long. You know, it's familiar. I love it. I mean, it's so organic. You know, the ooey gooey just makes me feel so real, man. I just don't know if I can let it go. Well, you don't have to, baby. You can be that stick in the mud anytime you want to be, baby, and stay there forever if that's what you want, just like you can stick your head in the bucket of sand. And you know, this appreciation you're feeling for this reality this muddy reality that we've lived in is really a gracious thing. It's an honoring of the experience here. You know, it's like saying, wow, it's been so rich, I just want to stay here and see how much richer I can get. That's what you're saying. And it's not, you know, you're not speaking in necessarily economic terms. It's more in the terms of the richness of your experience here. That's what you take to the bank when you come home to the heart each and every time. Hey, Hank. Ain't driving that tank no more. We're done with that shit, man. We're done with it all. The warfare of life that we called economics, let alone the imprisonment and warfare of a more physical sense that it created. You know, I mean, it was insanity, but you know, how else are we going to learn and grow? Without hell, there really couldn't be the paradise. We wouldn't know it. We wouldn't feel it. Sure as hell do now, don't we? That's where that term sure as hell came from. You know, because everybody lives in their own torment till they're ready to just finally quit being the stick in the mud. You know, when they finally appreciate it enough, then they realize they've already risen above it, because the gratitude you felt, the clinging on to it, was like clinging on to your mother or something. You just couldn't give up this kind of love. Beautiful thing. But because you just loved it, you just kept expanding and growing anyway. And, you know, the stick in the mud's still there, but, boy, you're flying high above the shore now. Fresh eagle of love, new heart in flight, getting it just right. You see how that works, Sally Jane? Hey, Mary Lou. I don't know what to do about you, man, up there in them piney forests of the South Hills. We're all growing, man. We're all flowing, you know. Hey, I'll tell you what I need in this divine paradise. Dream me into a sweet motorcycle like that one I was riding in that picture of love up there on Spacey Book, The Final Frontier, man. You know, if you guys haven't seen it, well, it's a cool pic. I like it, you know. But it's just that motorcycle is so hot, you know. So dream me into the presence of it, you know, in some way or another, man. I might as well have it for a ride, you know. I'm not into overdoing it any longer, you know, but I sure am into a ride, let me tell you. Fine ride like that, oh, Grandpa would feel so good. That's my angel wings right there, don't you see? Oh, we'll dream whatever it is we need to be, and we'll dream it right there. And there it'll be, you see. That's how we set each other free. Share the richness of our life, of our love, in a good intention towards whomever you are dealing with, however they may be presented to you, you know, in that moment in time. In your heart, be gracious always. And your thoughts will be guided by that graciousness, and your words too. See, when you're grateful, then you can afford the graciousness that I'm speaking of. When you really appreciate the life you've been given or that you've given yourself. You know, even though it may not be ideal, seldom is, man. You know, there's always the backwash. The backlash, too, babies, you know. But it's okay. We move through this together one way or another. We're all in the same boat. The spaceship love exists forever. It is the Mother Earth. And all the universe surrounding it, too. You're going to see some pretty amazing things as we continue this expansive tendency here on this Coyote Medicine Show for the next few days. Oh, yeah, well, probably a few weeks, too. Who knows? Goes on forever, don't it? But definitely getting a little more expansive, you know, where the visible presence of reality is beginning to demonstrate itself in each and everyone's life. It's a part of the activity of the unity of the one heart. Inevitably, when we gather energetically like this and dance together, swing and sway and moan and groan and whine and dine and all the good stuff that we do here on the Coyote Medicine Show and over there in the chat room, yes indeedy, get to hazyradio.com where you are right now listening in. And hit the chat link and get over there and chat with us. It'll give you some stupid name like Smoochy Boo. And we like Smoochy Boo, by the way. But anyway, I'll give you some silly name like that. And then once you're in and I make you a member, you can go up to that little icon and click on it and change your name. Put it in there like, hi, I'm Mary Lou. How do you do? You want to fly with me? You know, that's a long one, but whatever, you know. Then it has these funny little icons, these little cartoon icons you can put alongside your name, you know. So everybody knows it's, you know, some kind of alter ego representation of yourself. It's a little different world over there in the chat room. It's a vibe tribe thing. It's a family thing. Many of us have been there, you know, hanging out for more than a year or two. I don't know. It's been a while anyway. You know, a lot of people have been in and out, but they're all family, you know. But anyway, it's the vibe tribe. And we talk to each other just like families do, man. And sometimes, you know, we'll swat each other on the funny and fanny. Sometimes we'll have a pillow fight or two. But we all come out of it loving and sweet and nice to one another because we really appreciate what we share there. So here's to all you guys in the good old chat room this morning. I never ban any of you unless you said something really nasty, and then I'd just tease you. The only ones I really ban are the ones I see that are going to be trouble and start using those foul words right away. Start, you know, demeaning others in an immediate sense. I'm like, no, we're not taking this kind of stuff here, man. So we keep the chat room cleaned up, you know. We don't let that crap come in, man, you know. And when it does, well, we just radiate love and send them on their way. Ban, ban, ban. That's the man. Grandpa's got the helm here, baby. And I don't take shit from those little robots and trolls and nasty people that like to talk dirty to the ladies or the guys or make fun of racial things and stuff. I mean, goodness gracious. You know, wow. One heart, one universal heart. You know, give it a program. Get in the flow. Stop resisting, don't you know? That's what draws them, though, over here to the Coyote Medicine Show. And that's why I have to deal with them once in a while. It's a loving thing, believe it or not. Sends them on their way, but gives them a little dose of energy to go with it, you see. Oh, things change rather rapidly in this reality, and there's coyote medicine everywhere. And maybe you've been getting your doses somewhere else in the same way, man, you know. You don't really expect, but all of a sudden, ka-wham, there it is. You say, wow, thank you for this expansive moment. I had no idea that such an experience could lead me to such places, you know. And sometimes it's just as simple as, well, you've been giving yourself some time in communion and so forth, with your heart, I mean. But sometimes you're just walking or driving down the street or something, and suddenly there is a transition. It just takes place, you know. Sometimes when those kind of things swirl into me, I'll just have to sit down on the ground and let them flow in. And other times I just want to keep walking and flow with it, you know. Sometimes I really do feel like I'm flying, you know, but I don't ever see my feet up in the air just yet. Getting there, I reckon, you know. Sooner or later we lighten up enough that nothing can hold us down. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? We're already on the high ground, and, you know, more and more will be drawn here all the time, babies, you know. Because it's in CRESTONIA, your heart you can refine. If you're drawn here, if you're meant to be here, it'll help you get your sheet together, you know. But if you're drawn somewhere else, go there. You know, don't just come here because you think it's a cool thing to do. Do that because your heart genuinely leads you to. Follow it, in other words. Most of the people I know that have come here by accident, happenstance. They don't really think about living in Crestone, and all of a sudden they find themselves doing it. It's like, wow, how did that happen? Same thing happened to me, boys. Beverly Hillbillies all the way through, but fun too. We had a great time getting here, man. And being here has just been an awesome and amazing and blessing and an experience for myself, you know. It's like a return home. I feel this in very rare presences, you know. And in the presence of this place, I feel it. We're surrounded by a field of energetic love here that's really strong. And it's a defining kind of love. The same kind of stuff you're feeling coming pouring through the old radio today here on the Coyote Medicine Show on the Hazy Radio Network. Yes, indeed, the same kind of love, man. It's amplified through me and through this earth, don't you see, and radiated right through you because it comes from you. It's a unity thing. We're one heart flowing and growing together, you see. Yeah. And that's what you come here to experience and be here in Crestonia. But it might make you dingy as hell for a while, you know, like a bats are flying out of the belfry, man, you know, and going out there and won't eat no mosquitoes. That darn thing. It's like, because you realigning your entire existence and your perception and participation in it. Every little particle of your life is changing. And it can be unnerving at times, man. You just have to kind of be ready for that. And see yourself not as broken and scattered, but as, you know, an energy that can only live in a gracious harmony. That all this is just releases from the old ways. You know, all this dinginess that comes flowing through us is just this release from the old ways. This forgetfulness, this inability to move in ways you want to move and stuff, because you can't motivate yourself in that old way any longer. You know, if your motivation ain't coming clean and pure in the flow, well, it don't work. You're fighting against yourself and the flow of life when you misdirect yourself by trying to employ the old habits. So you get redirected in this way, you know, by experiencing hitting your head against the wall a few times or banging up against it. You start to realize it's there for a purpose, and you follow the flow and direction of that wall, and you see at the end of it there's this grand hall of love where, you know, everybody's partying and celebrating, and everybody's been waiting around you for you for several generations now. Where the hell you guys been? You see how it works? You see the coyote medicine in it, babies? Ooh, darling. Now you're starting to understand the flow of life and how comedic it really is, and how ironic too, but sweetly so. There ain't no harshness in it. There ain't no meanness in the satirical sense that we live. There really ain't. It's just a pure, loving act of heart, whether you know it or not. It's your choice to allow yourself to experience it in this way. If you start with a little appreciation a day, you know, if you just see a little bit here, a little bit there, that you genuinely love about this life, it expands and grows from there. See, because when you love things within and around you, you're loving yourself into being. You're seeing and appreciating your presence as expressed in that objective thing outside yourself, as well as the subject within yourself. That is the subjective. The experiential reality of one person, a living, unique being, in the presence of a huge mass of creation, formed in many, many, many different ways, of course. One grand heart personally expressed in you and everything else, too. We are all so unique in this creation, and so beautifully so. The same way as no two cells and atoms are completely alike. No, everything has its person. Everything is its specialty in this life. Fits in perfectly. Same way that the cosmic makeup of a body and soul does, you know. It's not saying we can't perceive it as out of kilter, but in truth, divine harmony exists forever. What else could there be, you know? That's why we're so unnerved when we first land in this reality, and why we have to come to places like Crestone, or, you know, some of the more beautiful places around this earth, and get our sheet together, because, you know, we feel like abandoned in a flow that doesn't even know which way to go. You got to come back and get in these magic places where the heart energy is a little bit stronger, and it takes you right alonger, man. Let me tell you, just like the stream of life does, you know. So that's the magic attraction of this place called CRESTONIA. You know, I have to admit, man, I'm the veritable Pope of Pot sitting up here on the mountainside, man, in my graceful office chair that's often referred to as my indoor Bostrom air ride seat. You feel like a king when you're riding one of them Bostrom air rides and driving one of them big Kenworths or Peterbilts or something, man. You're like, wow, man. Might as well be flying a 747. In fact, it takes more skill to drive the Pete than the 747 these days because everything else is automated. Thank goodness that, well, I don't know, I haven't driven for a few years now. They've probably got trucks that are totally automated out there, and that's scary. But babies, we're all about transforming even that side of life. Just stay in this flow, and you'll see and you'll know, and you'll grow right into it, don't you know? It just happens that way. So says Grandpa on this beautiful and wobbly Wednesday. Man, we getting it on with a heart's beautiful song here on the Hazy Radio Network with the Coyote Medicine Show. Don't you know?